Now today's focus, and for those whose relatives died at the hands of the Spanish dictator Franco, it is a monument that they find would deeply offensive, glorifying his regime. Now, though, Spain's parliament has approved a decree by the socialist government to exhume the remains of the dictator from the inside of the giant mausoleum which Franco created and which lies on the outskirts of Madrid. Franco, of course, the right-wing dictator who overthrew Spain's Republican government in a bloody civil war from 1936 to 39, and he went on to rule Spain for 40 years in what many call a brutal regime. The ghosts, then, of the civil war in this report from Melina Huet and Sarah Morris.
Visible from kilometres around, this place is at the centre of a raging debate about one of the darkest periods in Spain's history.
For people like us, the descendants of Republicans, or for Franco's victims, the Valley of the Fallen represents the very essence of the dictatorship.
With its 150-metre cross, the monument is colossal. Franco's brainchild, the dictator opened it in 1959 to great pomp and ceremony.
En el 20º aniversario de la victoria nacional, se inaugura la gran basílica de la Santa Cruz del Valle de los Caídos.
The Valley of the Fallen. Nearly 60 years later, not a single plaque or guide explains who the soldiers were who were buried at the monument.
Francisco Franco is in a very privileged place, which is well indicated at the centre of the basilica, and José Antonio Primo de Rivera, who was the founder of the fascist party, the Spanish Falange. Then behind the crypt, in a place that is totally inaccessible to the public, in a really humid place, terrible for preserving anything, there are the bodies of at least 33,000 people.
Soldiers who fought with Franco's side and also Republicans, all thrown into a mass unmarked grave, often against the will of their families. The valley is a rallying point for Franco nostalgics. The socialist government wanted to transform the complex into a place to educate future generations about the Civil War. But the project was hotly debated and the government has abandoned it.
The problem with the way that the Civil War is remembered in Madrid today is that there's no visitor centre, there's no museum, there's no objective account of what happened. All that we have are monuments like this one in the middle of the road which celebrate the victory of one side over the other side without any explanation about why it's actually there.
This monument was strategically built at the entrance to Madrid in the 1950s, the first landmark motorist spot. Before they know it, they're admiring one of the symbols of Franco's victories over the Republicans.
In the city of Madrid, there are around 150 streets and squares named after members of the Franco regime.
Hundreds of plaques that the left-wing City Hall wanted to remove last year. But one organisation started legal action to block the move. The Franco Foundation. We went to meet the president of the foundation set up to preserve Franco's memory.
What did the left do, and what are we fighting against? Well, there used to be a statue of Franco, for example. They took it down, and in its place, they put up a statue of Largo Caballero, one of the people who caused the Civil War. Removing one symbol to replace it with another isn't reconciliation. Either we take them all down, either we leave them all, and I haven't got a problem with leaving them all.
With no national consensus about the Civil War, some on the left and the right zoom in on the other side's atrocities. Many want to impose their version of history.
What I can't tolerate are the stories about Franco carrying out genocide, murders, and all the things people say about him because they aren't true.
No arbiter appointed to reconcile the two sides, Spaniards make sense of it all by themselves. 200 kilometres from Madrid, José María believes he's doing the job the government should be doing. Since 2000, his association has fought to exhume and identify Republicans who were killed and then thrown into unmarked graves.
We're in a vault in the town cemetery. This is where we've put the remains of the bodies that were exhumed from across the region.
In 2007, DNA testing helped dozens of families to find their relatives. More than 300 bodies have been placed in this vault.
Mira, sabemos quién es. Benito Velasco Iglesias.
A Republican who died in a prison during the dictatorship. Not all the bodies have been identified, but the association hopes their names will be found in the future. A modest memorial to the dead. There are few like this in Spain.
These are the plaques made by the association to inscribe the names of the 650 people who were murdered in this region in 1936, at the start of the Civil War. We were able to put them up thanks to the help of the socialist government of Zapatero. But when the Conservative Party came into power, they ended all the subsidies. We wouldn't be able to do this today.
Spain's unmarked graves are an open wound for many families. An estimated 110,000 people disappeared before and after the Civil War, most of them Republicans.
Milinuhe and Sarah Morris there reporting for today's Focus.